There's too many games, now he's trying to review them.
Oh, hi. Well, welcome back to Nathan's Video Game Reviews, my fellow gaming troglodytes. Hey, troglodytes? That's not really a nice word. Is that really what I put in the script? Oh. Yeah, no, cut. Hi, welcome back to Nathan Reviews Video Games, my fellow gaming gamers. This week we got a special review for you, the next game up in my NES library. But first, got a little bit of cleanup to deal with. After putting up the previous video, a lot of people commented that if my collection was indeed to be in alphabetical order, 3D World Runner would need to be after both 10-Yard Fight and 1943. Yeah, because 3 comes after 1. Well, guess what, internet commentators? You were right, and I was wrong. So I guess that means you're the big winners. Yeah, you win the prize. Guess what prize you win? Nothing! And since you're right, I guess that means it's true. 10-Yard Fight's the first game in my NES collection. Great. Yeah, I almost fell asleep playing it last night, just getting footage. But I will press on for you, dear watchers. I will make sure that this game gets reviewed. 10-Yard Fight, or 10-Yard Fight Asterix, was a release title for the NES in North America back in October of 1985, and thus earns the honorable title of the first football game on the NES. The first of many, I might add. Most people are familiar with the Tecmo line of games, Super or otherwise, so what about this one? Is it any good? Well, it's mediocre, and really, really boring. Let's cover the good bits first, what very little this game does have. It does emulate football to a point. You can hut, pass, kick, field goals, and it controls well enough, and that's about all the good I have to say about it. To say this game is bare bones would be an insult to skeletons. There's next to nothing in this game in terms of football strategy. First off, you don't get to pick any plays. At all. To compensate for this, they have you choose when to hike, when that's when your receiver will run straight across the field. However, the guy takes forever to run across the line of scrimmage. Like an hour. So I usually just immediately pass the ball. Speaking of taking forever, that's probably my biggest complaint about this game. Everything feels so slow. Doing long 30-yard runs doesn't feel exhilarating or exciting like it should because your guy is just barely moving down the field. Tackles lack any interesting form of impact, and while I know it's the NES, they could have at least tried to make it look a little better. Running and dodging are also absurdly slow, and since individual players don't actually have any individual stats like in any other football game, your runner will always just be a little slower than the people chasing him so as to not make the game unfair, but that also reduces any strategy down to nil. Playing on defense, unfortunately, doesn't fare all that much better, as you'll control one person and you have to pick him before you start your play. You then just pray they pass the ball in your direction, or else your fate will be at the hands of your moronic AI teammates, who do very well at flubbing it up, quite frequently. That being said, playing on defense can quickly become extremely easy once you master the Superman jump, a move that lets your player jump about 3 yards, leaping through the air, tackling anyone in his way. Once you figure that out and that the AI is pretty predictable, the whole game becomes a cakewalk. Another major annoyance is they've actually stripped down parts of football for this game. For example, if you pass and get an interception, which will happen all the time if you ever try to pass and there's a guy in the way, yep, every time, 100%. Well, when that happens, the guy just hops up and down and does a little celebratory dance instead of running with the ball, like he would in a regular football game. Same goes for the kick on the 4th down, it just sorta lands. No one tries to catch it, no one tries to get it, it just is there. Alright. As you've probably been watching the footage, you can gauge that 10-Yard Fight looks about as good as a child's wall doodles. Graphics are bland and extremely boring, and animations especially look poor. There's next to no music and barely any sound minus the tap-tap of people's feet running. I've been putting audio over this video to try and make it sound more exciting, but here's what the game sounds like, just normal. Exhilarating. Now I'm willing to forgive a lot for my NES games. They're old, they're dated, it happens. And the fact that 10-Yard Fight isn't completely broken is a plus for it, I suppose. But after that one, it fails on the second big point for me, and that's that it's boring and not fun to play. I guess you could say this game is an excellent cure for insomnia, as it sounds and looks extremely boring. Maybe at the time it was the only football game around, so it was something tolerable, but now with so many options you have available, even on the NES, it's just an outdated relic. And boring games make for boring reviews, so I should probably apologize for wasting 6 minutes of your time. Sorry. As commendable as it might be that this is the first football game on the NES, and the fact that it's not completely broken is a point, I still can't recommend 10-Yard Fight to anybody. Football fans, retro game collectors, it's just dull. If I were to give it a star rating, it would probably be 1 out of 5 stars, like the little asterisks in the corner there. And that's gonna do it for this review. So if you'll excuse me, playing 10-Yard Fights made me a bit sleepy, so I'm just gonna curl up here and take a little nap after my video review's over. And you know what really bothers me though? What I really wish, I just wanted to go on an adventure, you know? Like, it would be even better if I could get one on an island or a peninsula or something. But we'll have to save that for next time. Good night.